And now, WWAX Productions proudly presents The Spotlight with Justin Hollywood. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of The Spotlight. I am your host, Justin Hollywood, and I'm here with another special guest on today's episode. And today I have, some people call it the greatest manager in the CSRA, Mikey Gulino. Mikey,
Wow.
welcome to the show.
What an introduction, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, man.
So I'm going to start off with a question I ask everybody, Mikey. How did you get into wrestling, and what made you choose this business?
To be honest, I mean, it's the typical answer. I've always wanted to do it ever since I was a kid. There wasn't a time in my life where wrestling wasn't a part of it. I don't remember getting into wrestling. It's just always been there. And I knew as a kid, I was like, any way I can get in this, I'm going to definitely make that happen. And luckily, I have some really great friends, and, you know, they helped me out and they pushed me to where I needed to be. And now I'm doing the most I can right now.
So who were some of your favorite wrestlers growing up?
Well, if you follow me on social media, there's going to be that one, which is always Hulk Hogan. That's my dude. He's just the promos. Let me tell you something, dude. He's just. I mean, he's the man. He's always been one of my favorites. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Austin, a lot of Attitude Era guys. My favorite era between, I would say, 89 to 99. You know, that's my stuff right there.
Any favorite moves in wrestling?
Ooh, favorite moves. I'm always a fan of the moves that can kind of pop up out of nowhere. I know that sounds cliche with all the RKO out of nowhere, but I really do love something that can be set up really quickly out of almost anything, like the super kick, the stunner, RKO, spear, those quick ones that kind of come out of nowhere and it's like makes the crowd go wild. You know, I like those. The ones that have the long setup, they are very devastating, but, you know, I'm a fan of the quick ones, the quick devastating ones, you know.
That's what makes wrestling magical, correct?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's that's what it's all about. You know, you have the one things that, you know, you think a match is going one way, and then, you know, I mean, you look at Roman Reigns, he hits that spear out of nowhere, and you're like, what? And then 1, 2, 3, and it's over, you know.
More onto your career. Why did you choose Mikey Gulino? Because I've known you used former names in the past, like Mikey J and Mikey Giacomelli.
Well, when I started, the very first 2 times I managed, I was going by Mikey Giacomelli, which is actually my mom's maiden name, just for the sake of, you know, going by something different. I remember one of my first times managing, I think the announcer came up to me about 6 or 7 times and was like, can you say that one more time for me? Jack. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to change this a little bit more simple. So, I mean, Mike Gulino, that's my name. So I was like, hey, that sounds Italian enough. So, you know, I went by that and, you know, add the Mikey to it because my mom always used to call me Mikey. So kind of paying tribute to that. So, you know, Mikey Gulino, it just always stuck. It's easy for me to sign things because it's just my regular name. So,
Cool. So, how did you get into Flatline?
Ooh, I like this story. My very first time in Flatline was with one of my best friends, Billy Brash. He was coming into town. He's from Columbia. He works out in CWA. He was working PWX, stuff like that. And he called me and he said, hey, I got 2 wrestling shows coming up. You know, you want to come out to these? And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll be out there. And first one was a live wire show, and the second one was supposed to be Redneck Olympics. Redneck Olympics got canceled, so, you know, he had nothing to do. He saw a Flatline flyer. He found out who was booking. He talked to Wiggins and said, hey, I'm going to be out there. And he looked over at me and he was like, I got a manager with me. And my eyes just lit up and was like, okay. And he's like, we're doing this. And I was like, all right. And honestly, I mean, I've been, you know, I did a little bit of training and stuff, nothing too extensive, you know, but I always wanted to get in as a manager. And, you know, I had the opportunity with Brash, and it started that first time, and then they wanted to keep us together. unfortunately, he wasn't able to make the shows, so it was kind of in that gray area, which another guy that really helped me with what I'm doing right now is the Fireman. That first show, he came up to me, he said, you are going to be at my shows, and he started booking me out in Thompson, and then from Thompson, you know, all the Flatline guys were like, okay, and then they brought me back with Flatline with Wade. So then after that, I was pretty much the next 2 years, you know, building up and doing what I do, managing some great people out there.
What made you choose managing?
Well, like I said, I was doing the training a little bit, and I loved it, and I just something I always loved to do, and I just knew I don't know if the athletic ability was so much there as I watch other guys, and I'm by far amazed by what they can do in the ring, and I know I have a mouth, and I know I'm very loud, and you know, after my first time managing, I was like, I think this is my thing. I think I can really roll with this, and you know, I mean, I get to the back and I can't talk for about 2 days, but you know, you can ask anyone in my family, I'm the loudest person they know, so I figured that was the best thing for me.
Have you ever considered wrestling?
I've considered, you know, anytime they need me to wrestle as a manager, I love it. I love doing it. I've had, I would say 2.5 matches as a manager. The first one was me and Wade versus Oz Knight, and that was amazing, a whole lot of fun. Oz Knight is an amazing dude. I'm only saying that because he's right next to me. But no, he really is. He's a great dude. Had a lot of fun with him, learned a lot from that. The second one, they actually put me in the Battle Royal and had a little spot with Jacoby, which was a blast. So that's my 2.5 because I was in the Battle Royal for a matter of probably about 20 seconds before I got scared and eliminated myself. And then the last match I had was the last show at Flatline, which was me and Wade versus Kid Riot and Davis, which was a lot of fun. So, you know, I love managing, and you know, whenever, you know, they want me in the ring doing stuff like that, I love doing that too. So I think I found, you know, the perfect mixture for what I want to do, you know.
In your opinion, who is the best client you've met?
Ooh, the best client. Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm not just saying this so I don't rub anyone the wrong way, but I mean, they all are. Everyone I've ever worked with has taught me something that I didn't know, and it's a constant learning thing, you know. Like the first one with Brash, Billy taught me so much about how to work the crowd and, you know, how really to, you know, get the crowd, you know, get under their skin. And once I got a hold of that, and then working with Wade and him, and then, you know, from Wade, we went on and did the Gulino family, and then I got to work with Oz, and then Rob Killjoy and James Drake, and all those dudes are fantastic. I couldn't ask for a better group of dudes, and, you know, they taught me so much. And it's always, you know, I walk into any building, and it's never just me managing, you know, and doing my thing and leaving. It's me. I mean, it's like a class for me. I'm always learning from the moment I walk in that building to the moment I leave. You know, I learn from everybody that I can possibly learn from, you know, try to get better at what I do. So all those guys, I mean, they're all fantastic. I couldn't pick just one.
I heard you're trying to get on with PWX and with the Ugly Ducklings. I've seen some of your YouTube videos. Trying to be their coach, Bombay. Tell me about that.
I've been trying to make my way out to PWX for quite a while, just because of the buzz I've heard about it. I mean, everywhere it's all about PWX, and I was like, I got to be a part of this somehow. So just coming out there and helping them set up, helping them tear down, you know, show my respect to those guys, a great group of dudes out there. And basically, you know, I've been doing these promos talking about the Ugly Ducklings, which is, you know, Rob Killjoy's in that faction, along with Colby Carino and Lance Lude, and those three guys are amazing. I mean, it's insane the things they do, and the way the crowd's already behind this Ugly Duckling thing, you know, that's something I would love to be a part of. So, you know, I've been doing the YouTube videos, doing the Coach Bombay thing with the Ugly Ducklings, and I'm gonna keep doing it, and hopefully, people get behind it, watch the YouTube videos, share that. Hopefully they'll be listening to this podcast, share this, get the word out there, and hopefully great things in the future. And I'm crossing my fingers for that, man.
I'd really love to see you manage those guys.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
If you had the chance to manage anyone on the indie or pro level, who would it be?
I mean, Hogan's always, it would never be the red and yellow Hogan. It would be Hollywood Hogan all the way. That would always be a dream of mine. Anyone in the Heenan family, Heenan is one of my idols. I guess any manager that says, they're a manager, Bobby Heenan's on the top of that list. Anyone that he managed a lot of guys, back in the 80s, they put, a manager with a guy that maybe wasn't so good at talking or didn't have the charisma, in the 80s. And I mean, now you're in a generation where, everybody has that charisma. Everyone talks. So it's like having a manager is just a plus. I'm never with a guy that needs a manager. I'm with a guy that already has that it factor, and I'm just there to enhance that. So, being with like an Andre the Giant, a King Kong Bundy, I mean, those guys, it would have been, amazing just to, if I was like Bobby Heenan at WrestleMania 3 coming out onto the moving ring facing Hogan in front of that many people, that would be the all-time greatest thing for me, probably.
If Hulk Hogan was here right now, what would you say to him?
Oh, God. Is he around the corner? I would tell him thank you. You can say what you want in the wrestling business. So many people say, you in the wrestling business, that kind of piece of you, that fanhood will go away. But, it doesn't. It never will. I'd still, I have enough Hulk Hogan merchandise that you would think you're walking into a 10-year-old's room, I would tell him thank you. I owe all this to that because, watching TV, that was the first person that I was just zoned in on, attracted to. I looked at him and I said, that's something amazing, the real-life superhero. That's cliche to say, but it's the truth. I was never big into Spider-Man, right. Superman, X-Men, none of that stuff. It was all about, the wrestlers, the Hogans and the Andre and Macho Man, all those guys. So, just to tell them thank you for, being that part of my life that kind of kept me on my feet, throughout, being a kid. So I'm 29 years old and I'm still talking about the greatness that is Hulkamania. So.
All right, well, we're getting towards the end of our show here, but one final question for you. Is there anything you'd like to say or any advice you'd like to give to any newcomers in the business?
Well, I would still look at myself as a newcomer, I'm still very fresh with everything. So, me learning, always be humble is the biggest thing. Never take any of this for granted. Everyone that gets in this business, it's something they always wanted to do. It's something they always dreamed of doing. So to have that chip on your shoulder walking into a building, it's like, that doesn't need to be there. You are here because this is something you dreamed about, and now you're here doing it. Always be humble, always learn, always be respectful. Listen. Don't get in any of the dirt of this. The business, because there's a lot of dirt around there. I would like to say if someone would ask about me, I would like for them to believe that. Mikey Gulino, that's just an all-around nice guy in the locker room. I would never want anyone to say, any bad thing about me. Just because that's the kind of respect that I want to show people respect, so you can get it back and people think of me in that kind of way. So just stay humble, be respectful, always listen, and always learn, and that can get you places. I would never imagine I'd be doing any of this. But, just the matter of staying humble and, showing your respect to people, people notice that, and people will grab onto that, and they'll say, okay, well, maybe we can put something in this guy, and now, I had a a faction named after my last name for a year, and we raised hell in Flatline, and I had the time of my life. So, you know, that to me was the ultimate prize, you know, out of Flatline, you know, for all that hard work. And, you know, I love those guys. And from Flatline to Brash, Fireman, any guy I managed, Ethan Case has been a huge help for me. He's one of my best friends. Listening and just hearing from him, he has so much knowledge that, you know, I mean, it's just like we get to hang out, we get to watch wrestling, and I just get to listen to everything that he says. So it's listen, stay humble, and be respectful, and, you know, you get things out of this business you never thought you would.
You know, I said that was the last question, but...
Uh-oh. Come on. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just had to bring this up. You mentioned the Gulino family. Many fans around the area were fans of two separate factions in Flatline, the Rapture and the Gulino family.
Okay.
And this is a dream match that everybody like to see. What's your thoughts on that?
It's a dream match that I would like to see, to be honest. The Rapture versus the Gulino family. Unfortunately, in Flatline, when the Gulino family was picking up, you know, doing their thing, and the Rapture was kind of, you know, on their way back around, you know, they had the big thing with Hex, you know, turning on Henry and the Jacoby getting the title. And, you know, that was around the same time where the Gulino family was finally established as a faction. So it was just like, it never got to be, you know. And to be honest, I mean, I think that's a dream match for any guy in the Rapture or any guy in the Gulino family. I mean, you know, there's 5 of us, including me, so that would mean I would probably have to get the crap knocked out of me by everyone in the Rapture. So there's 5 of them. I mean, it's a dream match for me. So, you know, any promoters listening to this, you know, we're all, I think I'd love to believe that everyone's on board for it. I know I am. I know some guys in the Gulino family have talked about it. I know some guys in the Rapture had talked about it. So, I mean, I guess anything can happen. Never say never, man. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we've reached the end of the podcast. But before we go, Mikey, I've heard you do a great impression of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I was doing it.
I know you did. You did a line, but
okay. What do you? What?
For the fans, let's hear your best Hulk Hogan impression to conclude the podcast.
Let's see here. Let me tell you something, man. Augusta, Georgia has the best wrestling in the world, dude. Just keep hanging and banging in Augusta, Georgia. It'll take you far, all you Hulkamaniacs. There you go.
That was really good.
Thank you. Put me on the spot.
Mania's running wild.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, man.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Mikey. And this has been The Spotlight with your host, Justin Hollywood. And I'll see you next week for another edition. Thank you. This has been a WWAX production.